Welcome to KISS.
Glad to be here again.
You've been around for a good many years now. How did you first get involved with making music?
Well, making music, I've
making
been playing. I started playing drums when I was about 17. That was my start into the musical arena, and I was just playing in like jazz groups, R&B groups, rock groups, what have you, playing drums. And later on in about 1984, 85, I decided to take up, playing synthesizers.
Were you actually involved in jazz bands at that time?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And touring around the country?
Well, around like the Midwest in the States,
So you were just playing like freeform jazz?
Yeah, and cover tunes, other people's material, and some original material.
So when and how did Fingers Inc. come together? Was that the first actual house?
Yeah. I had met Robert Owens through a friend who DJ'd. Robert was a DJ also at the time. And he just basically introduced us, and Robert told me that he wrote lyrics and song. And we exchanged numbers, and we just got together and, tried to work on some things. It just really worked out real good.
And what was the first thing you came up with?
Well, the first thing we came up with was a path, actually, because Mystery of Love had been done already. And then, because there's like a couple of versions actually before the DJ International version.
Right.
And we added Robert's voice on that version.
Mystery of Love is the first track we're going to play tonight. How did you actually link up with DJ International?
I don't know exactly how I hooked up with them. I think it might have been through some friends also who were saying this new label, check them out and what have you.
Okay, we'll take a listen to Mystery of Love. Fingers Inc. and Mystery of Love, my very special guest tonight, Larry Hurd. How did Mr. Fingers come about? Was that the next project?
No, Mr. Fingers was actually the first project.
The first project.
The name originated just from something my little brothers used to say around the house and talk about my fingers. They say they were long, and they would call me Loose Fingers and Mr. Fingers, So I just stuck with that, basically.
And did Washing Machine and Can You Feel It come out of your home? Did you make those up?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What equipment did you have at the time?
What did I have? I had a DX7, a Roland Jupiter 6, and a Juno 6 Roland.
So about what time period was this? Were you hanging out in clubs at the time in Chicago?
Not actually, because I didn't really have a whole lot of time to do it, because I was like trying to learn keyboards after work, because I was working a full-time job also at that time. So I just come home and just basically freestyle and do whatever I felt.
And you ended up having bad experiences with labels in Chicago.
Yeah.
Why was this?
Why was it? I don't exactly know.
They didn't actually pay you for the work? Or?
Not what we were entitled to, no. We had a little something.
Okay, we're going to listen to Washing Machine. Mr. Fingers and Washing Machine. Next track we're going to listen to Can You Feel It? Tell me how that came about.
Can You Feel It? I just basically came up with I started with some chords and added a little simple bass line to it. And I asked a friend of mine, what should I call it? Because I didn't know what to call the track. And he just said, "Can you feel it?"
And you didn't really realize
that.
You didn't know it was going to turn into a genuine classic at the time.
No.
A house anthem. Let's hear it. From Chicago. Are you still based in Chicago?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. How did you link up with Jack Tracks in the UK?
Jack Tracks, they basically came over to the States looking to license material and things like that. And they contacted me and we talked and we decided to get a project together with them.
And that was a double album that came out of that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how did that sell?
Well, I'm not exactly sure how it sold, because that turned out to be another sour deal. Unfortunately, it didn't work out.
You began Alleviated Records in 1987. Yeah?
No, Alleviated began with Mystery of Love.
Oh, right.
That was the original label that Mystery of Love came out on.
Well, I never saw that one.
Yeah, it's pretty rare.
DJ International was where I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
So Alleviated actually started a long time before 87.
Mm-hmm. So we probably would have done better if we stuck with Alleviated.
Yeah, done it when we were
going to some of the other labels.
And what was the first recording on Alleviated?
Mystery Love.
Right. And then in 87?
No, actually in 86, Disco D Tracks came out, and Bring Down the Walls was originally on that label.
They couldn't have got very far outside of Chicago.
No, it was basically out of my pocket, so my pocket was only so deep, so I could only do a limited amount of pressing.
Right.
With that label.
So the reason I say 87 is because you probably got wider distribution from that time on, because that's when the records started getting in the stores in London.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm Strong. Was that quite a big seller?
We did a couple thousand copies. It wasn't like a platinum or gold record. You know. We sold enough to keep things going and record the next record and what have you.
Does Alleviated still exist?
Yeah, it's still around. I mean, it's sort of stagnant right now, just trying to get a few things together where I can put some artists out on that label, you know, have some sort of outlet for Chicago area talent.
Is it easy getting a label distributed in America?
No, not at all.
What sort of obstacles do you hit?
Well, the same thing, the financial thing. I mean, you could have your initial money to do your pressing with, but then it takes so long to receive money back from stores and distributors that you can't keep up with the demand, you know.
Sure.
Especially if you're taking everything out of your pocket at one time to do it initially. You don't really have anything else to go back and press with until the money comes back from the distributor.
Well, the next track we're going to hear is Distant Planet. Tell me about this. Distant
Planet. How did that happen? I think I just basically came up with the track, and then Harry and Robert just came in and just sort of ad-libbed over it until we came up with the concept of the Distant Planet, and they arranged how they wanted to do it. You know, it was a pretty simple process.
Fingers Inc. and Distant Planet. That's Fingers Inc., Distant Planet. My special guest tonight, Larry Hurd from Chicago. Gherkin Records, you set up in 88?
I think Gherkin, I don't know, it might have been 87 or 88, yeah. I'm not exactly sure.
Why did you set that up when you had Alleviated?
Well, I didn't set up Gherkin. Gherkin was a friend of mine that did that, Brett Wilcox in Chicago. And I was just basically trying to help out with that because the area needed something like that to get some of the tunes out that were there. I just basically helped out, you know, like doing the Gherkin Jerks tracks and
was that the first
mixing
release?
On some things. What was the first?
Got you there.
It might have been the first Gallifrey track. Might have been the first release. It was somewhere close to the beginning, though.
Right.
Might have been second.
The Gherkin Jerks tracks were a bit more acid than we were used to from you.
They're pretty wild.
Was you going through a wild time?
I always go through wild times. I just wanted to do something really, really different, you know, than I had been doing. And I was just experimenting with sounds, and that's what I came up with.
Okay, this is Acid Indigestion.
Well, I'm not exactly sure what's going on with Gherkin. I know they were having a real hard time. It's really hard trying to do the independent thing in America.
Right. So when you put a track together, how do you usually work?
On the feel only. Just whatever feels right, I just go with it and
what sort
keep
of thing,
going into it.
What sort of things inspire you to write?
Experiences, sounds that I may hear on different keyboards. I may create a sound on the keyboard and just, you know, use that as the foundation for my song, and then build and put things on top of it. until I just like it.
So you still work at home?
Yeah, basically doing all my pre-production and what have you.
And what other artists do you think have inspired you?
Oh, too many. Stevie Wonder, Return to Forever, those people, George Duke. I've always, even before I started, to learn keyboards, I was always really interested in keyboards and piano. But unfortunately, being a child of people who knew how to play the piano, they wanted us to learn when we were younger. And of course, since they wanted us to do it, we didn't want to do it.
Right.
And I probably would be better off if I had done it, but I'll do it okay. I'm being self-taught.
Do you think music is a good way to get a message across?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How do you find much of the current rave techno music that's coming out?
I have,
do you get to hear?
Like any other kind of music, I have the tracks that I like and tracks that I don't really care for. I mean, it's certain things in any genre of music that would immediately send you to the store to get it. But unfortunately, running around as I have to do, trying to, get my thing together, I don't really get to hear probably all of it. It's maybe a DJ would hear all the things.
You linked up with Black Market Records. When did that first come about?
Maybe in about 87, 88. Basically, Renee and Frankie Fonsette had came to Chicago to see the big house music scene in Chicago, which really didn't exist.
Had it finished by this time?
Well, there never was a really big house music scene. There were like 2 clubs, to be exact. 2 clubs, one which Frankie Knuckles was at and one which Ron Hardy was at, that were really catering to that type of music. Everything else was like mainstream R&B, what have you.
So they came to Chicago and approached you?
looking to find tracks and what have you, and just sightsee and hear all this good house music, and that's how we met.
You weren't actually signed to anybody else at that time?
Mm-mm.
So you were a free man?
Yep.
And so what came out of that?
We ended up doing the Gallimore Free Gallery track with Renee on Black Market Records.
Right.
Which is, I hear, a cult classic now.
Yeah, in fact, it's so much of a cult classic. I couldn't even find my copy. I spent about 2 hours trying to dig it out last night. Also came out of that the House Factors, or was that by the House Factors? Yeah. And there were 3 singles.
Well, 2, I thought. Two EPs, yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And you were still working as the It as well at that time.
Yeah. All of the things we were doing, we never really stopped. It was just positioning each track under a different title,
How did you decide which artist was going to be the one for that track?
Depending on the feel, the aura of the track, I might say.
Mr. Fingers, What About This Love is the next one we're going to play. Tell me about this track.
Well, that was the birth of me starting to sing. I actually sung backing parts. I was more standoffish about doing lead vocals. At that time, there was nobody available to do lead vocals, and I just decided to take a stab at it. It felt right.
They turned out good. Mm-hmm. Let's hear it. What About This Love? This is Colin Faber on Kiss FM. My special guest tonight, Larry Hurd from Chicago. The It album, how long did that take you to record?
We basically had all the tracks. It was just a matter of, we'd done a lot of material. We always continuously write. And it was just a matter of picking the right tracks that we thought that fit that concept that we were trying to achieve there. So they were basically there. We just had to pick them out, really.
Have you've got more equipment at home, obviously, now. Mm-hmm. Have you built up a proper studio now?
A proper pre-production studio, I'd say that. It's not like Peter Gabriel studio.
I should hope.
But I can work with it, though.
Okay, the track we're going to hear is Endless Journey. Tell me about this.
Endless Journey. Well, basically, once again, I had came up with some music, and Harry came over and he was showing me a book of his lyrics, and I just happened to come across this sheet about the endless journey, and it made me think for some reason, and I went through some tapes, and I ran across the track, and it seemed like the music was sort of a journey also, so I decided we did a demo and, put those words over it, and it worked out.
What's Harry doing now?
He's in Chicago writing. He's been asking me for music to put to his lyrics now, so I got to get back and
is he signed to a label?
I am not even exactly sure.
Right.
Because the thing with Big Life didn't work out too well. I don't know if they're going to try to do something else or just move on to another company. I'm not sure.
Okay, let's hear the Endless Journey.
Endless Journey.
That's the An Endless Journey. You're signed to MCA now.
Mm-hmm.
How did that come about?
Ooh.
Quite a big step to a big record company.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure how I got the information that they were trying to contact me. But through Renee, I got in touch with them, and we discussed what they were looking for. I mean, what they were expecting of me, and what I would be expecting of them also. And I mean, we talked for a long time before I actually signed. Mm-hmm. And I thought it would be a learning experience for me also to deal with a major label now, which is quite different from what I had been doing in the past.
And have they given you plenty of freedom to do what you want?
Musical, yeah, I had to insist on that because it's not worth doing if I can't do what I want to do. Mm-hmm. I understand the business end of, they have to sell and, that kind of thing. But I think, like I was saying about distribution before, my problem had been distribution.
Getting records in the shops.
Right, getting them to people who wanted the records, not really the people didn't want them.
Right.
I just couldn't get them to the area, so, I thought that would help me out a whole lot to be with a distribution network like that.
That's a problem you always face, really. You can be on a small label and have complete freedom and not get in the shops, or else be on a big label and be tied up for life.
Yeah. Or they want you to do something totally opposite of what you want to do.
Right. So you're happy with the situation now?
Yeah, so far so good. Working with a good staff of people, and everybody's into the product the way it is and not trying to alter and change it. I mean, we had remixes done for the single, for clubs, what have you. Mm-hmm.
So is there an album forthcoming?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The album is scheduled to be out on April 6th, but give or take a day or two.
Right, and the track we're going to hear is Children at Play. Mm-hmm. Tell me about this.
It's another one of those field things where I was just fooling around with sounds and creating some sounds, and I just came up with this pattern that I liked. It kind of gave me a Lyle Mays kind of a feeling from the chords and the way it was moving and some of the flute sounds and what have you. And it just made me think of an outdoorsy kind of scene. And I just decided to call it, because I made it during the summer, and
right.
I think I could hear kids outside playing or something, and I just decided to call it Children at Play.
Okay, let's hear it. This is Mr. Fingers and Children at Play. Mr. Fingers and Children at Play, that's the track from the forthcoming album, which we await. What else? Any other projects in the pipeline?
Well, I'm continually writing. I want to get some writing to some people that I really enjoy their work, like Sade, I like Young Disciples a whole lot, Gary Taylor. So I'd like to contribute something to those artists. I mean, if they want me to.
Are you actually planning to produce any other people?
Yeah, if they want me to. Sure. I'm flexible. I'm a musician.
You're not sitting on any hot property at the moment?
Maybe.
So would we see maybe future alleviated releases coming?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And how about, would you actually launch a label in this country?
Yeah, I'm working real closely with Black Market, so we're going to be doing some things through Black Market and some remixes here and there.
Mm-hmm. Are you actually doing anything with Robert at the moment, Robert Owens?
He wants me to contribute some writing to his album and produce some tracks for him once he gets that settled. So I'm looking forward to doing that also. And with Ron Wilson also, and probably on Alleviated, we'll be doing some more releases.
What else is Ron doing at the moment?
Ron's a dancer. I don't know if you know that or not. So he's dancing in a lot of commercials, doing some stage shows, and so that's what he's doing right now.
So tell me about what's happening in Chicago at the moment. Is there anything?
Chicago's the same old thing. It's not really anything going on. It's not a heavy club scene or anything. It's just...
There's no one good club or anything?
Not really.
Wow.
Not anything worth mentioning. But there's a lot of talent there, so, you know, we get to listen to each other's projects, demos, or what have you, and, you know, and there's a lot of good stuff there. It just needs an outlet.
Okay, Larry, well, thanks very much for talking to us.
I'm glad to be here. Anything for you.
We could have gone on for days, really, but...
Yeah, we go back a long way.
Thanks very much, and good luck for the future.
Thank you.
Sound of my very special guest, Larry Hurd.
Just come with me.
And that's just about it for this week. Thanks very much for listening. We'll be back again same time next week. Don't forget, a new show starts on Sunday from the 22nd of March. I'll actually be on, but this week Colin Dale looking after things. Meanwhile, that's Sunday between 5 and 7.